Hello, 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 and welcome to SALTO Digital Dialogues. We are, I believe, at session 11, which is the first session for this year. So it took a couple of months in the beginning of the year to figure out how to do this. And the new thing is today, in case you have been in digital dialogues before, that we are now open to a broader public. So welcome also anyone from outside the national agency circuit that might have found your way here. As you see on the beginning slide, today we are talking about digital youth work and more specifically talking about VR and what that would mean for youth work. And we are fortunate enough to have my ex-colleague Panu Räsänen from Verke, the Digital Centre for Expertise on, Finnish Centre for Expertise on Digital Youth Work, to talk with us from his experiences on the topic. But a couple of ground rules first, as far as how the digital dialogues go. So all of these sessions will be recorded and shared online. You should not, or probably cannot, turn your camera on, and that is by design. So because we share the recordings, we don't want that everyone has to share their face online as well. But we encourage you to ask a lot of questions in the Q&A module of MS Teams. So you are free to do that, and we will relay the questions to Panu in the end. So whatever feels maybe unclear, or you want to know more about, or something that was not covered at all that you're interested in, do ask the questions, and either Panu or us from SALTO Digital will try to respond to your questions. In case you're having technical issues, we usually recommend to make sure that your app, whatever device you're on, is on the most recent version. I know some national agencies have to use the browser version, but hopefully you can still have a stable connection to us. These sessions are aimed for national agency staff and primarily to digital contact points. But this is, of course, something that is relevant not only to the digital contact points, but really everyone who is somehow connected to European programs, Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps. So whether you are someone supporting the digital priority international agencies, someone supporting potential applicants and beneficiaries in general, or you are one of the people interested or already running projects within Erasmus Plus or European Solidarity Corps, this is for you. Since all our content is really connected to these two programs and that digital transformation priority that is there. And we really try to talk a lot about not so much the technology itself, but the implications that technology has either on our work or the people benefiting from the projects that are implemented in the program. So if you are expecting that we will give very hands-on advice step by step on how to use a VR headset, this is not the place, which is also good because you can get that information from a lot of other sources as well. But this kind of specific thing is not that much out there. And finally, the recording will be made available. We try to usually publish it within a week from the session. And we do encourage you to share that recording with any colleagues of yours that might be also interested. So spread the word if the content is there. And one final tip, next week for all the national agency staff. So if you're working in a national agency, come chat with us more about digital transformation in our Q&A session, which is happening on Tuesday. But that being said, I will give the floor to Panu. Microsoft Teams has made some new things, so let's see if we can get Panu popping online. There we go. Welcome, Panu. The stage is yours.
Thank you. I will find my slides here. And yeah, well, the topic today is VR and XR in youth work, as mentioned already. And I'm working as planning officer at Verke, which is Digital Centre of Expertise on Digital Youth Work. And my point of view is technology, education, and international affairs at our office. My background is I'm a community educator, photographer, designer, some sort of musician, and I've been doing digital youth work or use digital technologies in youth work for past 15 years. To picture here is when I was first using VR as a tool for youth work. It was back in 2015 when I was working in this project for youngsters who had issues controlling their gaming habits. So one way to work with them was to have these kind of carrots that we could get them to our clubhouse. So we had the newest technology back then. But as mentioned, we are talking about digital youth work, and in Verke we have been dividing this team to these kind of topics that we can use digitality as tool or as an activity or as a content. And we believe in Verke that VR or XR altogether can be part of every of these teams. But what kind of digital competencies we need, and what does digital competencies mean at all? But the first is that digital competencies are, when we are talking about digitality, the digital gadgets and or all the ICT skills necessary to work in this modern society. And in Verke we have been using this kind of model about youth work professional digital competencies, and it's based on DigComp model that is basically European wide competence model. And we consider that VR is so big technology, or that it should be seen through these digital competencies. We should have the skills of using these new tools. We should have the skills organizing our work to utilize this as a tool. We should have the knowledge about the digital safety related to this technology. We should know what kind of media and information we can use through these tools. We also have possibility to use these virtual spaces as a way to have digital creativity, and we can have a meaningful conversations and encounter other people through these platforms. So first of all, we need to know what we are talking about. So I will try to explain shortly what all of these VR, AR, XR, MR are meaning. So virtual reality is basically a computer program that you can use using these VR headsets, and it's fully immersive, so you can actually go around, walk around, have different kind of activities, play paintball, or go for just have a mindfulness moment in nature or something like that. A couple of examples from games could be Beat Saber. Beat Saber is one of the biggest selling VR applications at the moment in the world. But there's also augmented reality. Maybe most of you know Pokemon Go game, where you can put your phone's camera on and the Pokemon appears to your phone screen as they were in the real life setting. So augmented reality is something that is digitally put into the common surroundings, and you can go through this with your mobile devices. Mixed reality is similar than augmented reality, but in mixed reality, you can interact with these what you are seeing in the this virtual setting. So it kind of overlays for you this user interface that you can interact with your controllers, or even your hand, or even with your eye movement. So it's more versatile, and it can, so you can have this kind of virtual office where you can have virtual computer, but it actually is connected to your own computer. All of these tools has this kind of umbrella term called extended reality. So VR, AR, MR are all under this XR team. So when somebody is talking about XR, it can mean anything mentioned before. Just earlier this year, Apple brought their own virtual headsets on the market, and they started talking about spatial computing, and it's basically mixed reality, but it has some modern ways to interact with your computer, for instance. So it's more or less mixed reality, a computer in mixed reality, let's say that. Also, there's have been lots of talk about metaverses, and metaverses are basically computer programs that are interlinking social media and also shops, or like online marketplaces, but these are combining like the real life ecosystems into the virtual ecosystem. So it's a bit of both. So in metaverse, you can go actually and buy a book, and the book is delivered to your home. So it's not only a virtual place, it's something between those. But why VR is so relevant in youth work? Well, the studies show, this was a study made by University of Helsinki, and they were asking high school pupils that how do they consider, where do they consider that they have been learned to use technology, and most of them told that they don't learn it in school. That only occasionally they are learning something new about technology in schools. So most of the technology is learned on their free time. So that's why it's so meaningful to have decent digital education or technology education in youth work setting. And one of the most concerning thing in the study was that about 40% of these youngsters considered that they felt that their digital skills were weak, and they felt anxious when using digital devices. So we need a lot of different approaches and different possibilities to learn to use technology. And when we are talking about VR, the VR is the bar in the bottom. So the blue bar is that they haven't ever used the technology. So almost 70% of high school students in Finland haven't ever used VR. And the orange bar is just like few times a year. Gray one is monthly, yellow is weekly, and the blue bar is daily. So there's quite a lot to do that we could get youngsters familiar with the VR and XR technology altogether. One thing is that VR isn't something that happens in the future. This picture is taken in 1968, so almost 60 years ago. There were developed the first VR headsets. And, you know, if someone would have said 60 years ago that we should have this technology in the youth work, I would say, maybe not yet, the technology isn't there yet, but nowadays I think that the technology has become so obviously used in the modern society that we all need to have the decent capability to use this technology. The VR is used already in healthcare. So there are lots of different kind of virtual therapies that can be used to pain management, anxiety, depression, phobias, PTSD, eating disorders, grief and loss, and so on. The picture in the middle is actually from one VR therapy game that is for the users who have back pains or mobility issues. So they are put into the game and they have to pick berries. And somehow in the game, they don't realize that, or they don't remember that they have back issues or something like that. So they are more willing to go into these positions that might hurt in normal settings. So they're not so afraid of being mobile. The other the newspaper article on the right is about using VR headsets for kids who have are scared about medical treatments. So they are having this kind of vision that they are in some peaceful and calm place. So they don't mind when the nurses are making their treatments. So it's vital to have this kind of sense what we are or how we are is used, because it can be part of your healthcare, and to get a decent healthcare, you have to have the knowledge how to use this. And it is also used in the heavy industry. So if some youngster is wanting to go study as to be an engineer or working in a paper mill or something like that, you already need to have or it's better to have some kind of common sense, like how VR is used, because it's going to be part of their work. And in Finland, Valmet, which is a major paper mill manufacturer here, has started these training programs utilizing VR, because these paper mills are like 100 meters long, huge factories. So they cannot train people to use them in real settings, because they should, probably shut down the paper mill, and it would be cost like billions of euros. So they have been making this virtual double that they can teach all the workers to use these tools in a virtual setting. VR is also used in education, and in SEDU is vocational institute in Finland. They are using lots of different kind of simulations as part of their studies. So they have virtual trucks or harvesters, or they are doing training how to drive a forklift or this kind of logistics, and they're studying these in the virtual settings. So virtual reality can be part of your study. So you have to know how to use these tools just to get your school going on, and maybe you should have also knowledge how the technology might affect you. Do you get dizzy, or do you get headaches, or something like that? Because it can be problematic if you are going to a school and you cannot, go further on the studies because of the nausea or something like that. So you can probably change or think about different career opportunities before attending to the school. The VR setting is also used in lots of healthcare studies. In the right, there's this haptic virtual reality can be providing better learning possibilities in dental sciences. But in youth work setting, we should consider who benefits the most, because the headsets are quite expensive still. The cheapest ones are still around 400 to 500 euros. So it's not so common to have the youngsters would have their own headsets. So it's needed to think like who benefits the most, that we can afford to buy these tools to use. One kind of super group who benefits the most is the youngsters who live in the rural areas, or like archipelagos where there isn't so many youth centers available, or the youth work is, in distances. This is one part also if you are planning to have Erasmus Plus youth exchanges. So gathering all the youngsters in the same place without having these kind of limits of distances. The other super group would be this kind of youngsters who have issues about their maybe gender or sexuality, or how they look, if they have problems like eating disorders or something like that. We can have these kind of avatars inside the virtual platforms that we can represent ourselves as we would like to others to see us. So this is possibility to play with these kind of settings, like who do I want to be and how do I want to be seen, and in a few virtual platforms there's also possibility to change your voice to some different, so you can sound like maybe more masculine or more feminine, or maybe more alien, or if that's your thing. we can also have this kind of better. We can get our work seen more in broader way. We can use these kind of virtual galleries that we can, show them globally. This is one gallery that is made in Spatial. This is made in central Finland in a small city called Viitasaari, and they made this kind of gallery with their youngsters, and they can just provide the link, and everybody can see what kind of art the youngsters had made. But this can be also a possibility to these kind of youngsters who have some kind of social disorders or social phobias, that they don't have to actually go to the youth center to attend to youth work, and they can step by step be part of the activities and get more familiar being involved with other youngsters, and probably in some point attend to a real youth center when they are ready. But what do we have to do next is that we have to figure the things that we can do cheaper, more efficient, or with less CO2 emissions and more accessible using these kind of XR technologies. So we have to think about this kind of super group who benefits the most when we are using these technologies. We need to have lots of training that this technology comes familiar, and we know all the possibilities how to utilize these as for this kind of daily as part of daily youth work. But we have to keep in mind that the youth work goals comes first. The technology, cool technology, is only sometimes key to success, but there's always that we have to do great youth work. Nevertheless, we are meeting youngsters in person. And just this kind of reminder, we are publishing our e-course about VR youth work next month. It's almost done, and we are making our last editing to this course. And if there's enough interest from everyone, we would probably translate the course in English, or even better, we can provide all the material to you that you can translate it by yourself, because it's everything we have been publishing is under Creative Commons license, so it's free to use. If you remember to put that Verke has done the material. And if you are interested, please contact me, panu@verke.org, or you can ask my contact details from Juha. But that's it. That's the thing in a nutshell.
Thank you so much, Panu. Very nice overview in 20-25 minutes. As before stated, you can ask questions in the Q&A panel. Anyone who is listening, I'm happy to see that there are people listening live. In the meanwhile, while you are asking questions, I do have a couple for you myself. I know that you recently ran a TCA training course around VR and youth work for the Finnish National Agency. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and especially what was the response from participants that were there?
Well, first of all, there were 365 applicants from 40 different countries, and we handpicked 20 persons from 14 different European countries to participate in this training. And the training was held in Finland, and it was four long days in virtual realities, and we browsed through different kind of possibilities to use these tools, games, and also the creative part. We were doing virtual graffitis and stuff like that. The general response was amazing, and you know it was. I have never had so good feedback before from a training, and even afterwards, I have heard that there will be at least 2 different study visits or TCAs coming later on next autumn, and the other one is coming on next January or February. So the training that we did for youth workers is already getting gears in motion, and probably having these kind of youth exchanges coming on later on.
How about the Finnish national side? How much VR work is already being done? And I'm interested, especially in this kind of, is it, I know the situation is that there are these really enthusiastic tech nerds like you and me in the Finnish youth field, and they tend to adopt these new technologies earlier than most. But is there already general interest in the Finnish youth work scene?
Yeah, especially in Finland, we have this archipelago, Åland archipelago in Baltic Sea, and it has lots of small communities where there's no youth centers available. So they have been starting to have these kind of virtual youth center meetings in virtual reality, and they are already doing this kind of weekly based virtual reality youth work. And also in Lapland, there's the distances are huge. It's, you know, it can be hundreds of kilometers. People can live hundreds of kilometers away from the nearest village or city. So there's lots of demand for this kind of work, and there's lots of interest in these rural settings. But there's also interest to combine this virtual reality into theater and dance. In the city of Helsinki Youth Work, they are having this kind of theater plays that they are combining virtual reality possibilities into this normal theater setting. So and in Tornio, which is northern part of Finland, they had this kind of virtual graffiti exhibition. So they were making possibility to youngsters to paint their own graffitis into these abandoned houses in VR setting. So there are different kind of approaches in the cultural setting, but in the normal, you know, youth work, everyday setting or youth center setting.
And like you said, it's always about the youth work goals, and it's only sometimes about the cool technology itself. I remember, I remember a cool project. I forget which country it was from. It wasn't a Finnish one, I think. That was around helping make museums, and especially art museums, more accessible for young people with physical disabilities that cannot come physically to the museum. And they made exhibitions accessible based on that. So I thought that was something really cool as well. I wanted to ask you also about, because I know you're a bit plugged in, or quite well plugged into the international digital youth work scene as well. So do you know which countries are already kind of adopting a lot of this VR in youth work or other similar approaches? And is there some countries that are kind of bubbling under around the curve?
I would say Ireland is the country to go on if you are interested in VR youth work, and we have been collaborating with Ireland 2 years now about the subject, and I know that there are lots of interest about utilizing VR into youth work, but I think every country doesn't have the same possibility to access the technology, or don't have the similar goals in youth work. It's more about the accessibility to technology, which is okay. Also, everybody should have the access to test this kind of technology. But I think in this kind of youth work goals way, I would say Ireland is my choice.
Yeah, well, that was my understanding as well. But I'm sure there is also a lot of like upcoming practice that we don't know yet about. And I think if you go to the educational sectors, the situation might be also different. It might be that schools, vocational education institutions, higher education institutions, and other schools might use actually VR a lot more than, for example, what is done in Finland. So
Yeah,
next time actually we will be talking about the school side as well.
Yeah, same is in Finland. I think the school system has different kind of money to use to make these platforms, but we have had experiences that in one parish in Iisalmi actually applied funding for making their own escape room kind of game. And they got funded by they got ESR funding from the European Union to make this game. So there are possibilities, but we should have more trust to our ideas and try to apply these fundings more to youth work settings also.
Yeah. And I remember also from this Iisalmi example that they were able to host or conduct the escape room game and lead it from remotely from any place, so they didn't have to physically go necessarily to where the participants were. And I think you had the same experience in your TCA course, right?
Yeah, we had Barry Hawkey from Ireland participating in one of our sessions. He was hosting the session from French Alps, where he was at that time skiing, but he gave us a few hours of his vacation time, and he hosted us one session on Rec Room, like showing us what kind of youth work activities could be done in this game.
Yeah. And that in turn then opens up a lot of opportunities for international collaboration in general in projects or otherwise. So that's kind of a really cool opportunity. There is one question regarding to kind of when you're starting to use VR or similar devices, and in case some people are, I think you mentioned this briefly, that some people are more affected by the tech itself, like you can get vertigo or motion sickness. Like if let's say you've tried VR once and you got motion sickness, should you try again? Is it something that you get used to, or is it then it's just not for you? What do you think?
I would give it a try again, maybe a few times, and consider what kind of game you are playing and how the movement is done in the game, because there are possibilities to have this kind of teleportation. You are not actually moving in this game like in a linear sense. You can just jump around, and that helps you not getting so nauseated. So choosing the right platforms, choosing the right way to move can help with this kind of nausea and sickness. But you have to know that if some participant has issues of migraine or maybe epilepsy, so you have to prepare also if someone has kind of seizures or get really, really sick. So there are some mishaps. Not everyone is not possible to attend to these activities, but that's the same in basically in every youth work setting. unfortunately. But this can be, this opens up possibilities for someone, and we have to just figure out who are the best beneficiaries when using this technology.
So would you then agree that in case you are in a position where you're actually designing the environment or the activity itself, let's say within our Erasmus Plus project, then it becomes actually a question of digital inclusion or inclusive design principles in case you need to design the activity in a certain way to help these kind of people also be included?
Yeah, and one thing that we on our TCA, we all of our activities were planned in a way that we could also use our mobile devices or computers to attend also. So it's all about planning. If someone gets nauseated when using headsets, we can provide them with computer to use on and not get so busy or nauseated. So carefully planning, getting to know these platforms and tools, we can provide it to much more broader audience.
Good points. We are approaching the 45-minute mark, so I have one more question for you. Circling back maybe to digital competences and especially practitioner competences in this sense. If someone is considering that they would really want to do this kind of projects, or someone in national agencies is supporting an organization that would like to try something around VR, is there a minimum level of competences they already need to have to pull something like this off, or is it okay to learn as you go? What do you think?
It's about the goals what you are putting into these TCAs. If it's this kind of peer learning situation that you are learning on the way, I would just go ahead. But if you have this kind of group that you are promising something special, you have to have better understanding of the technology. So bit of both. And
depends on the content.
And also that we have to think about the accessibility to technology in mind. So just having these VR headsets to try on, and maybe it doesn't have to be week-long exchange on virtual reality. It can be just like cherry on the top of the cake, like having this one activity or just trying out making virtual graffiti or virtual statues or something like that. So it can be just a small part of the activity. Not everything doesn't have to happen in virtual setting right away.
So probably don't start from creating custom learning environment to be implemented all over Europe.
No, that wouldn't be my choice.
I mean, there is, of course, there is the saying, go big or go home, but maybe in moderation in this sense. But we do encourage everyone to try this technology and really reflect on how this can be useful and what added value this can bring to your processes, right?
Yeah, definitely. And you can be in contact with me if you are willing to hear about more and maybe have some kind of consultation. What are other first steps and so on. And also, if you are having training courses or something like that, I'm willing to be a trainer in these kind of settings.
Yeah, that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much, Panu, for your time today.
Thank you.
In about a month, we will again be in SALTO Digital Dialogues, and next time it looks like we will be talking about educational use of VR, and especially with learners with special needs, how it can support that. So stay tuned for the information around that. And again, do share the recording of this session with anyone who might be interested, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you.